Need a motion to that.
Motion to accept.
Good evening, Mayor Anaya and Vice Mayor Garcia and council members. I'm Luis Armando Leon, HR Specialist here for the City of Somerton. Today we're going to look at the, hopefully make a final recommendation on the health insurance plans. So per our last work session meeting that we had, we are recommending, based on the review that the Health Insurance Committee made and voted on, the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona was plan selected for the USA coverage, and the Transwestern Mexican insurance was the one that was recommended by the Health Insurance Committee. So these are health insurance plans that will be in effect for fiscal year 2020, 2021. Plans begin July 1st, 2020. So we're at the point where we need to make a quick recommendation, so hopefully I'll be able to answer all your questions tonight. Some key points to consider on these particular plans is that the annual savings to the city will be in the range of $169,863 to $420,723, and that's with the city covering 75% of the dependent coverage compared to costs from fiscal year 2019-2020. So in the current situation that we're in, we are moving towards lowering the cost as much as possible, save money so that we're following budget, and I think these plans will be able to get us there. Some plans are lower in cost and may put additional dollars in employees' paychecks. So not only can the city save money, but we can also save money to the employees by them selecting a lower cost plan that has a lower premium that will in turn put additional dollars into their paychecks. The plan remains in the Blue Cross Blue Shield network, so employees are already familiar with this network. They used it in the previous year. Today we're going to offer more choice of plans. At the moment, I'm recommending 6 different health insurance plans versus prior years that we had 2. So there will be more choices, more options for the employees so that they can select the plan that best fits their family needs. In addition, additional savings may be achieved with family coverage in the Mexico plan. So the scenarios that I'm looking at, that's not considering if some families go into the select a Mexico plan as their family coverage. If that happens and we have some families that actually take that option, then that could generate even more savings to the city. So the key features of the Blue Cross Blue Shield network is that it's self-funded, balanced funding plan. Blue Cross Blue Shield, I was informed yesterday that the Blue Cross Blue Shield will recognize expenses associated with 2020 deductibles accumulated with EMI. So they'll recognize those and actually apply them towards the following plan. So this way, anybody that had expenses paid out under EMI for 2020, they will count towards the deductible for this upcoming plan. So
Calendar year or fiscal year?
I'm sorry?
Would it be that fiscal year or calendar year?
The health insurance plans, they work on a calendar year, and we're on fiscal year. So that means the costs would only be applied from January 1st, 2020 to June 30th. So those costs, any deductibles that they paid during that period of time will apply towards the next fiscal year, but the cost prior to in 2019 would not. So in addition to the previous 2 points, some advantages of the balanced funding are that it's easier budgeting. The city qualified for lower fixed monthly costs for fiscal year 2019-2020, and I'll go through some scenarios here in a few minutes. It's all-inclusive, which means that the monthly payment covers the administrative services, the stop-loss insurance, and the claims liability. So because it is different than just a self-funded plan and it's a balanced funding plan, we're actually grouped with a larger pool of participants so that the risk is spread out throughout a larger pool. That enables us to have more control over the costs and not have huge spikes in costs. There are potential refunds, so the city has the ability to earn dollars back if the claims are lower than expected. So at the end of the year, if the plan claims are less than what we paid, then we could potentially get some money back. So this is different than our previous plans where it was fully funded and all the costs were just going out and we never saw any of that money back. So now there's a potential to actually get some money back if our claims are kept under control. With the self-funded balanced funding, correct. Yep, that's correct. So there's no surprises. Also, if the amount of the city's claims is more than what we paid, we don't know more because, again, with the premium, monthly premium, we actually have a built-in stop-loss insurance. So it's already included in there. So we're not going to be hit with a huge cost at the end of the year if all of a sudden our claims go up, like what happened, in previous years. Yes.
If we exceed the maximum, are we going to get penalized next year? Is it going to go up or is it
No, it stays the same.
next year, the following year, it's still going to?
It's the same?
It should stay the same because we're not looked at individually. I mean, overall, if the whole group overall has, higher claims, then there could be an increase in the premiums. But it's minimal compared to what we experienced previously, where we were looked at only City of Somerton claims and only us only. So when we had that huge spike in claims, that's why our experience rating went up tremendously because we were fully funded, but we were not pooled with anybody else. It was just the City of Somerton.
Also, we're right now with
We're going to be pulled with Blue Cross Blue Shield, the whole network. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And there's enhanced transparency. They have monthly reports that will allow us to understand the healthcare claims throughout the year, so we can monitor the costs and see where we're at throughout the year. At the bottom of this page, I put the link to their network, so you can get additional information through them at www.azblue.com. And Transwestern, these are just some of the key features. The estimated cost is actually, if we do a more enhanced plan for families that want to have Mexico coverage only, it'll be about $165, and it will include accident insurance through AFLAC, and again, it'll include dental, and it'll include the life insurance as well as the medical insurance.
you were saying with that, like, is that like, do they have to show us if they want the extra to, or is that the same price?
It's the AFLAC is going to be about $23 per family if we add it onto this.
And is that will cover short-term disability or long-term?
It covers like accidents, like for example, they have a list of if you have, break a leg or something, you get a certain amount of money. If you have a certain type of accident or injury, there's dollar amounts associated with it. So what it does, if they have that coverage and they have an accident, so the money that they get back could potentially cover, for example, like out-of-pocket costs for co-payments and so forth. It'll help with those. So I showed you this previous slide. So this is kind of what our enrollment has been at specific points in time from 2017 on to 2020. And the current enrollment is currently about 108, and the breakdown is as stated there with about 9, 10 in the HSA, and then the rest in the PPO. So this is what I used. This is what I used to as to model the scenarios that we're going to be seeing in a few minutes. So projected annual cost of all plans. So this is kind of a snapshot of what the total cost would, total premium cost would be for the plans that I'm proposing. So under the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona Plan A, the current enrollment, if all participants were to go to Plan A, the PPO and HSA under this plan, then we would look at a monthly cost of about $90,000 per year, and the annual projected cost about $1.082 million annually.
How much would it cost us per employee monthly?
I have that scenario later on. I'll pull up the spreadsheet and we can look at that detail and the breakdown of the 70 and 60 and so forth as well.
No, just the employee only.
Employee only. Again, there's many different plans. I'll show you in just a few minutes. Yeah, this is just kind of to give you a quick overview. So under Plan B, the projected cost on a monthly basis would be about $79,935. The annual cost would be about $959,000. For Plan B, under this scenario, the third one down, I looked at all employees on a Plan B HSA with Mexico combined with it. So if we offer the high deductible HSA plan with Mexican insurance combined, then we will look at a monthly cost of $76,000 and annual projected cost of $916,000. Under the next scenario down, Blue Cross Blue Shield Plan B, this scenario is Plan B HSA with Mexico Plus. If we take 18 families from the PPO plan and they went to the HSA and Mexico coverage, then the monthly premium would be $83,000 and annual cost about $1 million. The last scenario is all employees on Plan B with 15 families in the Mexico plan. Under this scenario, the projected monthly cost would be about $65,000. Annual projected cost would be about $790,000. So this is the range of possibilities. I don't know what the final mix will be. Once we present the plans to the employees, some employees may prefer to stick with a higher cost plan, maybe like the PPO plans and so forth. But there could be many employees that look at the HSA plans, and because it gives them savings and it actually puts money in their pocket, then some employees that are relatively healthy with families that might consider that plan and save money and have less money deducted from their paychecks. So we'll give them the option, and so they'll have the ability to select which plan works best for them. Under the current proposal is based on dependent coverage by the city at 75%, but then what is the annual impact to the city at 70%, 60, 50, etc. I have the scenarios already built in. And then what is the potential cost or savings for employees on a bi-weekly basis based on the current plans. Okay, so this first scenario is the Plan A, and here we have the Plan A is, the top one is the HSA. It's a $5,000 deductible, and it's 90%. That means they have a 10% co-payment under this plan. So under this scenario, we have a monthly premium of about $90,000, and that's based on all employees converting to the Plan A in the same ratios that they're currently participating. So the same number of participants from HSA would come across to the HSA. The same PPO participants would come across to the PPO under this plan for this particular scenario. So at the 75%, where the employer covers 75% of the family coverage, then the city's share would be about $977,000. And then at 70%, it would be about $955,000. At 60%, $913,000, and so on and so forth until we get to the 25%, which is about $765,000. So the difference between like 75 to 70, you can see that it's not that significant, maybe about $12,000. And so if we look over here towards the right, So at the 75% rate, where the city covers 75% of the family coverage, we would see a savings of about 169,000 based on last year, compared to last year's rates. At the 70%, we would realize the savings of about 190,000 based on last year's rates, and at the 60%, we would see a savings of about 233,000.
I'm sorry, I'm not following. Where are you seeing your
All the way to the far right in column L, M, and N, in the green. And it's row 5. Got it? Okay. And so for the employees, if we stay at the 75% share, the employees would actually see a savings under this particular plan and under this scenario. So for the employee spouse, at 75, there we're actually saved $30 biweekly. Employee children would be $29 biweekly savings, and employee and family coverage would be a zero. It would be a wash. And then at the 70% share, there's still for the spouse, there's still $17 biweekly savings, $19 for the children, and it would cost them an additional $22 if they at the 70% coverage. Do you have any questions about this? Okay.
So just to clarify.
Yeah.
If you scroll up,
Uh-huh.
that means our total cost would be, let's say, per employee, not counting families, we're looking at $443.60, correct?
Let me see.
You have it on you. Scroll to your left.
On the left.
It is on number 12, the employee HSA, monthly premium $443.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's what this Plan A would cost our employees, right?
That is correct. So actually, it's not what it costs our employees. That's the monthly.
That's what the city pays.
That's the total monthly premium.
Right.
It's $443.60 is the total monthly premium. From there, we divide it however we think we're going to divide it. So how much of that percentage, what percentage of that goes to is paid by the city, and what percentage is paid by the employee? Yeah.
So let's say just hypothetically, my calculations, I have $443.60 times the 108 employees, gives me $574,905.60.
Okay. So that would be the total cost of the insurance.
That we would pay
For that, correct.
For all of our employees.
For all of the employees. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so from there, a percentage of that might be paid by the, if the 25% of the family coverage, dependent coverage is covered by the employees, so that would reduce that amount.
No, but we pay 100% for our employees, right?
Oh, yes, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the employees. I got you.
Right.
Yeah. You're correct. You're correct. So that's the Plan A. Plan A is actually the most expensive plan that we have, that I'm presenting to you. Under Plan B, the monthly premium would be about, what did I do? Okay, so the monthly premium would be about $79,935. Annual projected cost total is $959,000. But then when we break it down to the city's portion at the 75%, the annual cost is about $865,000. At 70%, it would be about $847,000. At the 60%, it would be about $809,000. If I go all the way to the right, the savings to the city at the 75% covering 75% of the family coverage would be $281,000 at 70%, $299,000 at 60%, $337,000. If we keep it at 75%, under these plans, the employees would actually see a biweekly savings of $35 under the spouse coverage, $33 under the employee and children coverage, and $10 for the family coverage. At 70%, there's still some savings realized for the employees based on current rates, except when we get to family, it actually goes up by $10. So that's an overview of that one. Under the Plan B, so in this particular scenario, if all employees go to Plan B HSA with Mexico coverage, then the annual cost would be, total premium cost would be $916,000. At the 75% percentage, it would be $818,000. At 70, $799,000. At 60%, $759,000. And annual savings at 75%, it would be about $328,000. At 70, about $347,000, and at 60%, about $387,000. Under this particular plan, at 75%, the employees would still see a savings of about $22 biweekly. For the spouse coverage, about $19 biweekly for the children coverage, and the family coverage would be higher by $3.
So Armando, on this one, we would be paying the same as the 40470 would be the same amount as the previous plan that you showed us?
That is correct. 40470 would be the employee-only portion of the premium. So basically what I took is, I took the HSA plan with the high deductible, and in that particular plan, because the Mexican insurance, we can offer it and combine it with whatever we want. We're not tied to anything. So in this particular example, if we offer the HSA plan and we build in the Mexican insurance, just combine it with that. The Mexican insurance is $115. So I added that to the premium, the HSA premium, and it gives me a monthly premium of $1,006 for the spouse, and then $884 for the children coverage, and $1,400 for the family coverage. And so then I took the same percentages and figured out what the monthly premium would be. We're saving money, bottom line. Bottom line, we're saving money from last year, yeah.
And the employees like it, and that's what matters, and they're gonna be saving, I'm happy with that. It's a lot of numbers too.
It's a lot of numbers to absorb, I realize that, but the last,
Depends on what they sign up for.
exactly.
Right now, it's just a protection.
Correct. Yeah, the projection is based.
I know, yeah, it's a lot of, it's the same on the how to wear, it's hard to understand.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's a difficult, complex subject. It's a complex subject, and the thing that makes it difficult is that there are so many different variables that you can consider. You can move pieces around and add something here, delete something there, and you can end up with a different plan that has completely different premiums.
So, Armando.
Yes.
There was talk about the high deductible with the Mexican insurance,
Uh-huh.
maybe looking at that and incentivize employees for ending that and eventually producing more savings for the city. Is there a plan? We're talking in the media about that. How we can
Yes, so basically, if the plan is accepted the way I'm proposing it, then we actually have the possibility of six different plans that we can offer. One of those plans would be an HSA plan like this that will have Mexican insurance combined with it, and what I'm hoping is that because the Mexican insurance is a completely new plan. it's foreign to our employees. They may not be comfortable and so forth. But I think if we do a combination, American insurance with Mexican insurance, I think it'll encourage them to then ever so often go to a doctor in Mexico, because that'll reduce their costs actually.
How much would that be for family cost?
For family, it would be, the total premium for family would be, HSA with family included, monthly premium would be $1,410 a month. And the employee, bi-weekly for an employee with a spouse coverage would be $69.39. For children coverage would be $55.35, and this is at the 75%. And for employee family, it would be $116.09. So that compares to, on column K, employee plus spouse, currently bi-weekly it's $91. So our current rate would be 69, so it's actually quite a bit lower than our current rate. The employee children is currently $74.75, and the family currently is $113 bi-weekly. What's that?
It's only health insurance, not dental or vision.
Well, the Mexican does have the dental. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, this would only be, yes, we would only offer only medical coverage, not the enhanced plan. Yeah, if they want to take the Mexican coverage only for their family, then we would add the accident insurance, the dental coverage, along with the medical plus life insurance. And so that total premium a month would be $165. So if a family member, if an employee would to take that, I think we should cover the 100% of the cost of that, because it would still save us quite a bit of money by if somebody takes that option. So the option will be there for them to take if they want to take it. I don't anticipate a high number of employees going for that option. I suspect that probably more employees, if they want to try out the Mexican plan, I think more employees will probably try the combination HSA with Mexico medical insurance, because that gives them the opportunity, peace of mind that they still have coverage here, but at the same time, they can lower costs by going to the doctor with a $20 co-payment in Mexico versus the high cost here under the HSA plan. But they'll have that flexibility. So I went to this other scenario where we had 18 families going from the PPO to Mexican insurance. Under this scenario, the annual projected cost would be about $1,400,000, and the savings to the city would be at 75%, $250,000, at 70%, $271,000, at the 60%, $314,000. So we would still generate savings there. Under this particular scenario, if all employees were to go on a Plan B HSA, this gives us the greatest savings. The monthly premium would be about $71,000. At 75%, the city's annual cost would be about $775,000, and the savings at 75% would be about $371,000. At 70% would be $388,000, and at 60%, $422,000 in annual savings. Again, these are hypotheticals and potential scenarios. The reality is going to be somewhere in between what the high cost is and the low savings to the high savings, somewhere in between, depending on what plans the employees take. But regardless, even if all employees were to go to the more expensive plans, even then we still realize a savings of about $170,000.
With last year's.
Based on last year's rates, correct.
Okay, so we've had discussions, or what, are you done with your presentation?
Mm-hmm.
On the percentage coverage for families. That's where we're at. Want to continue 75%? for employees, we've seen what other agencies are doing. So that's the decision I think that I'll make tonight, see, and moving forward. I still, like Councilman Galindo said, I saw the numbers, and I'm like, we spent an hour looking at numbers, now
Yeah.
more numbers.
Yeah.
But I still, I would like to see on that, more in line with the other agencies, maybe a 60-40 split, but on the ones that'll produce more savings to the city, the combination, maybe we can
The Plan B
make it
HSA.
more contribute a higher percentage to the employee and make it more, what is the word? Attractive, yeah.
Attractive, palatable, yeah. As a suggestion, Mayor, if I may, of the 4 plans that we're looking at for the Blue Cross Blue Shield, three of the plans, 1 PPO and the 2 HSA plans, the monthly premium is less than $500. Last year, both premiums one premium was $580 a month, and the other premium was about $558. So this time, we have 3 plans that are below 500. One at around 404, another plan at about 443 or so, and then so they're all under 500. We only have 1 plan that's above 500, and it's $516, and it's the PPO, one of the PPO plans. So if we want to encourage our employees to, I think, if we go in the direction that we shift more of the cover less of the premium for family coverage and so forth to achieve even more savings, I think if we go in that direction, we should step into it and not do a drastic, all of a sudden 60-40 right away. My recommendation would be, if we want to go in that direction, let's go to maybe like a 70-30 first off. And then the other consideration would be to encourage employees to go to the lower cost plans. Maybe those plans we can still cover at the 75-25, the lower cost plans. And if employees, if they find that attractive, that actually we save money and the employees save money. It puts money in their pocket. And then if they do take the high cost PPO, then maybe that one we cover it at a lesser percentage for family coverage. So that would be an incentive for employees to go to a lower cost plan by doing it that way, if they see that it's going to be a little bit more costly for them if they take the more expensive PPO.
I was going to say, Mayor, just, with the comment that Armando said, I feel that, in a way, I feel that we're kind of getting these lower plans. In a way, we're sacrificing that amount of insurance that we can give our employees, because I feel that we're making a decision based on the dependent coverage, how much it's costing us, when we could provide, a first class health coverage for our employees only, where it would be, at 100%. If we're looking at like spending $1 million or 1.1, if we really just focus it on the employee, on how beneficial that coverage will be for him or her, I think that's more of an equitable approach. If I have a single employee here, someone that's single who has no dependent coverage, he doesn't benefit from this package. So, but I also understand where you're coming from, But I think that's something that's important for us to consider. Are we making the decision based on the available budget that we have? Are we making it based on dependent coverage to include them, or do we really want first class for our employees? And I think that's a tough decision that I know throughout this whole process that we have to kind of juggle and really try to find a middle ground. But I kind of feel that, okay, even if we cover 60%, we're still sacrificing benefit coverage for our employees when we could provide, a much better one with the amount of money that's going into that. But then I also understand your point of view where we need to be compared to San Luis and Yuma, neighboring counties. But I do feel, that's a tough decision. you know, but, you know, based on all the plans, you know, we're looking at the most $574,905 for employees only, you know, and I mean, I know there's a plan where we would save, but, you know, I think it's something to consider also when we just finished our work session. And, you know, I know last week, you know, and I'm gonna quote Ms. Gallegos here, you know, we need to save as much money wherever possible. You know, so, I mean, we have a tough decision to make here. You know.
Yeah, and that's the question that, you know, that I've said in other meetings, that just my feeling is that, you know, we are a business, we're competing for skilled people, and I always look at the other agencies. We always compare ourselves salary-wise and also benefit-wise. And an important equation, I think, as part of benefit is having coverage for the family. At least that would be a determination for me in looking for employment, insurance, and do they offer family coverage? Those are benefits that a municipal employee, you know, expects at least. But then again, that's the decision that we need to make. It's either what percentage, no coverage, or no contribution to family coverage, or still have some, the city provide a certain percentage, or cover 75%, which we've seen that at least in Yuma County we're the most generous as far as contributing more towards family coverage.
And Mayor, along those lines, if I may, the other consideration is that you know, not all health insurance plans are the same. So, for example, some of the other health insurance plans where they're not quite as generous, they have really low deductibles. The annual deductibles might be only $1,000, even $500, or maybe $1,500. We're looking at $5,000 deductibles. So we're not comparing apples to apples entirely. We're looking at a Cadillac plan versus, you know, a Dodge. You know, it's not we're not comparing the same thing. So, and again, because these plans are so complex, there's so many pieces to them. It's not clear. It's not clearly you can't clearly define, you know, which plan is better because there's so many different parts to it. But
And that's what I've been saying. You know, we compared last year. Last year was an anomaly. Were the last year prior, we had, you know, several cases here at the city that just raised our rates. So when we start comparing how we're sitting to last year, but I'm looking more of a model moving forward.
Mhm.
That's and we play with the coverages, but at least, you know, moving forward we have something sustainable. And I think 75% is not sustainable. But I like your approach. If we step it, you know, maybe not 5%, but maybe 8%, and then 7% next year, or whatever. And I would, at least I would feel that if we, the one that it gets more saving for the city, then we can contribute a little bit more, maybe leave it at 75-25, then that would make it more attractive to the employees. At least that's my feeling, but as what the other council members think. It's not an easy decision to get all the numbers, and yeah, we could go zero and have $600,000 for our general fund.
With that,
We could blame Serena for that.
Also, Mayor, if I may, because we're going to a self-funded balanced funding plan versus a fully funded plan in previous years, now we have the potential that if our employees are engaged in their healthcare and they're watching their costs, and maybe some are going to Mexico to lower the costs and so forth, all employees that get care taken care of in Mexico, those costs will not hit our premiums here in the U.S. So it's going to keep our costs. It's going to lower our premium costs here in the U.S. So that could be one way that our employees can contribute towards the savings. It saves them money, but it saves the city money as well.
And there's different ways,
Yeah.
you know, being creative with. You know, where I work, if you have your yearly physical, you get a $20 discount on your premium.
Yeah. A wellness credit.
Yeah,
Wellness credit, yeah.
Those are incentives that we could think about.
Does the city give, gives 100% for employees?
All,
So this is like, you know, it's nice working for the city of Santa.
Oh, the employee, yeah, the family.
No, the family, no, but not even the employee pay 100% for employees, you pay.
and under this plan, potentially, if our costs are kept under control, we might see some money coming back. I mean, there's no guarantee, but there's a potential.
Well, we have the, you know, for the employees to go to the gym, we pay what, $10 for a half of the time? You know, that's an incentive for them right there. We don't know how many are going to the gym, or how much money do we pay, how much, those are attending. We have to revise it, because if we're paying, let's say, 2,000 a month, and only 5% is going to use the facility, then if we're wasting money, we can use that money to be more attractive in other, you know, because if they're not using it, we have to look at those things, because I don't know how many employees we create for them. And, you know, it's something that, that's an incentive, where it's better for us to buy weights and have a gym for them here at the hospital, city or somewhere. As I said, the police department, I know they have a nice facility there for weightlifting, maybe at, you know.
All city gyms are closed.
Right now, but it's.
No, well, that's not a city gym.
I think we need to take into consideration, like you mentioned, and like Armando mentioned, not a drastic. I understand Councilman Castillo's point, but in comparing ourselves for competitiveness, I think at least the person with the family does look at, you know, that whole package. Yes, I'm not probably getting paid for $6, but I have coverage for myself and my family. I think that most of our employees have family, very few of us that are single, that, you know, can do the other one, but I think that slowly we can, and then of course provide incentives for that reflection, you know, long term.
Sorry, Armando, how many are on the family, spouse, or?
Dependent coverage?
How
Out of the 108, it's 42, 43 families have dependent coverage.
Maybe 40%. 38.89.
Yeah, 42 out of the 108.
And 24 just employee plus family.
Yeah, 42 have either spouse coverage, children coverage, or family coverage. Some type of dependent coverage. And the dependent coverage, that's the more costly coverage. Employees only is not quite as high.
So we pay $700 a month average, $650 a month for
We employee or the city?
the city. $650 a month for gym membership.
Pre-COVID, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, in the mornings, mostly city employees that are there.
I think, you know, we have to, Mayor, we have to take that into consideration to, you know, if there's gonna be a change, then do a small one this year and then let the employees know that starting next year, there's gonna be another change, so they start expecting that.
I think because we are still achieving savings based on last year, we're heading in the right direction. We're trending down, so we could continue that trend in lowering the cost by then shifting more of the cost to the dependent coverage. and step it, maybe next year we go a little bit more, and then the following year a little bit more. If that's it, but I think also, not just blindly do it, because if this plan starts to work and we're experiencing good control of claims and we're getting money back and we can put that money in a fund to protect us from future high costs, then that puts us in a better position.
I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think it's gonna be at the end of the day up to the bills, which everyone, I think we're getting, at this times, I know we don't pay like, name, but, we have, I don't know, I work at the hospital, I pay a lot, so when it comes to insurance, it's important for everybody to have like this one, and it's one of those things that you need or it's a want or I need, it's a need, right, especially nowadays, and you have to sacrifice and a balance as a family, what do you want insurance, or do you want, some people I say, well, this year I'll get the Mexico because it'll be cheaper because I'm going to restaurants, but I think city is offering good.
What about as far as family coverage percentage?
What?
I think that's probably what you need.
Yeah, I think
As far as percentage.
that's going to be the key thing. Is
Currently, it's 75 the city and 25
Right, right.
you.
For the family, right?
Yeah.
Good, I think it's still good. The city pays 75 or the family pays 75?
the city pays 75% of dependent coverage.
I think it should be the other way around, the family pays 75.
So I would think, my preference would be drop it, 7% this year as far as family coverage, yeah. And the one that want to make more attractive, still keep the 75, 25.
Okay.
To the family, let's say me with my wife and my two daughters, how much I'll be paid?
Well, it depends on the plan that they take. For example,
The best plan.
the best plan.
If I want to,
For you, it's gonna be,
So the best plan is going to be the PPO plan on the plan A, and that plan for spouse, if they cover the spouse,
The whole family,
what's that?
the whole family.
Oh, the whole family, the full family coverage. Okay, so the family coverage under the PPO, at the 75%, the biweekly would be $131.
that's not.
And right now it's 117.
It's nothing, to be honest, it's nothing, I always compare myself to, let's say, to the hospital, we pay like $400 or $500 bi-weekly.
So for family coverage under the most expensive plan, at the 70%, then the biweekly premium would be, for the employee, would be $157. And at the 60, yes, at the 60/40, would be $209 biweekly.
And I know that goes, some people at the hospital make more money somebody here at hospital, they make 15, 16 hours, they don't make, to be honest, that's a good.
Yeah, and that's what, when I'm looking at it, I look at what, the other agencies, to me, 75 is a little bit unsustainable moving forward. We're trying to, good thing that we saved this year, and hopefully moving forward, we don't have that spike, but still, we guess we step in, and we keep the one that's cheaper, so maybe hopefully more employees can join that one, and that yields more savings.
So keep the high deductible plans, the lower cost plans, keep those at the 75/25, and then increase the high PPO.
And so it would be, this year would be 68, 8, and then 7. So we hit the 64.
Okay.
I just think we should go lower, Mayor. you know, especially after that work session that we just had right now, but, you know, that would be my suggestion, just go lower, on that, and I mean, you know, that would be my recommendation, you know, and again, I mean, we're, you know,
Payments, let's say 360 or.
I was thinking more 50, you know, and I know it's gonna be a big hit, but, you know, I think it also goes back to, you know, when we had our meetings at the committee, you know, we have a Cadillac plan for our employees, that's great, you know, but if we offset that cost, we give our employees an option, you know, and I know that's not on the table right now, but something for future reference, you know, have a Cadillac plan for our employees, but then also give them the chance, but if you want coverages for your family, you know, then we'll cover your whole family in Mexico, but you need to wait, you know, just work something like that so that we end up paying the same amount of money that we would pay here in the US and their whole family in Mexico. So that way it would kind of be it would offset, you know, depending on the choice that employee makes, you know, and we're not forcing them to go either way, but they would have that option, you know, if, you know, they want that Cadillac plan, what the family is gonna cost them, it's not gonna cost us, the city, you know, our taxpayers. So that's my stand on that. I think we should go, we should go lower. That would be my recommendation.
So the cost, if we go at 50/50 for the expensive plan, the high dollar PPO, and then for family coverage, it would be $262 biweekly versus $117 right now. And if we do the 60/40 split where they contribute 40% of the cost, that would put it at about $209 for the family coverage. The children, if they cover the children, that would be $85 biweekly, and for the spouse coverage, it's $114 biweekly at the 60/40 split. I think there could be a good rationale for the more expensive plan, putting it at maybe like the 60/40 split if you want to go that high. And so it's just more of the cost of the employee, but then the employee can make that choice because they can still select a lower cost plan that'll save them city money, but if they want the more expensive plan because it works for them, and I think some people will still take it because it's a lower deductible and it's a PPO, so that means the co-payments are less and so forth. So for some employees, it might make sense to go that route. But if the cost is an issue, they might transition to the lower cost plans because it'll cost them less on a biweekly basis. So maybe the more expensive plan we go to the 60/40 split, and then the others will still keep at the 75/25 if that's possible.
Still, you know, just looking at the overall, we're looking at no raises this year for most employees. And if we go drastically for the dependent coverage, it's just,
Mhm. And that's
individually, it's a hit. I like the two-step approach, and do it this year and then the following, and then next year.
And that would be my recommendation. That would be to step it. You know, take one step this time around, and maybe do another step the following year, and then evaluate it to see how we're doing.
And I understood the budget implications overall. It would be nice to cut everything, but we're also dealing with people's lives here, and it is an impact, especially with this uncertainty, uncertain times. Just to me, I'm just concerned that there's no cost of living, and then more of a hit on the insurance.
I agree with Mayor and you know, right now it's hard on everybody. Families are struggling, and I know the city's struggling, but we have to do it. I know it's a business, we have to make a business, but also we have to have compassion and think of those low people that we hear. I do understand that I'll be 50, but at this point, you know, we're in this, and it's gonna be, it's not over yet, just because hours that, we can go out and do whatever, but there's tough times coming, like the construction stand and everything, but we have to look at these people, they'll be struggling, they're trying to stretch their dollars, and I do understand it. I didn't know that there was gonna be no raising, but we can play with that at no risk, but we're gonna be nice in this area, we cannot just be hitting them on every area, because they're already struggling. We're all lucky that we have a good job and we get paid, we're still working, but it's not working for some people, especially kids staying home, they eat more. And they, every dollar they take home, I think this is out. And if we're still saving at 75, 25, maybe, leave it like that for this year, and next year, because we have to think of people, those are the ones that put us over here, and I know it's a city, I know, but we're not gonna go over there. We're gonna need.
As far as what we're facing right now, I can agree with Mr. Ardino. I think we need to factor in the, I guess, people wanting to go even into Mexico to get treatment. We're almost similarly as far as count, across the border in here, but you have to think about that.
Yeah, right now it's going to be it's going to be challenging. Yeah, it's going to be
I
challenging.
tell you from working at the hospital, people are not going to the hospital, they're not going to see their doctors, even though they're hurting, they're doing everything until the last minute. And once they do it, because it's an emergency, they need emergency surgery now, it's going to be more expensive. And if you still have Mexico insurance and U.S., I said, well, I'm going to still go to the U.S. and rather pay more. And we have to think, it's different times. It's not like, if it was last year, I would say yes at 50%, because I'm always trying to save money for the city and everything, but at this time, I think, in my heart, I cannot do that. It's impossible for me to say, yeah, 50%. At this point, I think 75, do it like that, or 68 or 70, but it'll be hard for me to agree with any trying to hurt the families more. And it's not over. We still have this winter season is coming.
Yes.
The weather's gonna come in 82 degrees, the virus die. Gets like 90, 100 degrees, we're still seeing the spike. So we have to think, I don't think so. In my heart, there's, I cannot justify. I cannot go to sleep thinking that I'm still hurting those families are still struggling. So if it was not next year or another year without COVID, I'm all forward for 50%. I'm always, but right now,
Councilmember Castillo, I think you are numbered today.
No, that's why we're at council. I mean, it's fine.
I say in between.
No, it's.
I have my 8% at this.
I think the two steps that you suggested, Mayor, it's good. I know it's still 70-30 still good.
Mhm.
I think more, we're putting more into their employees, without, some hiring freezes, so
Mhm.
that means the other employees are gonna pick it up, so they'll be working more.
Mhm.
I mean, not more hours, but at least they have to work a little bit more harder than that, and still, I think 70-30 is still good if you're gonna go that route. I mean, if you wanna leave it at 75-25 is good, but I think still 70-30 is better than other agencies that are.
Yeah, even if I may, even at the 70-30, some of the scenarios that I ran, under some plans, the employee would still achieve some savings. A little bit lower premium, so we still give a little bit more money in their pockets, maybe $20-25 bi-weekly, and we still achieve savings for the city. So that might be a good approach. But I'll leave it up to you.
So should we make a motion over 2 years? And hopefully we don't revisit this next month unless it's very extreme circumstances.
Mhm.
At this point, if we leave it at 75-25, are we still saving money?
Yes.
Last year?
Yes, we are.
Okay, that's all I want.
Yes, at 75-25, we still save money.
A sustainable model, so at least little by little, and eventually we're gonna end end up there, instead of just leaving it here and then, making the harder choices later. I think now, even with the 70-30, there's still savings for the employees, and there's savings for the city. Eventually, we're gonna get to.
Yeah, and I was just gonna ask, just kind of what response to Mr. Galindo comment, after our work session, it was said, we might be asking, department heads to cut back 10%, so just putting that out there before, the motion gets made and everything.
I think after, Mayor, I would like to make a motion to do the 70-30. Still, I think it's a good option after, listening to Mr. Armando. I know on the work session, we talk about some savings that are cuts that we need to do. Hopefully this will alleviate also some of the money and still have the employees, not a burden on them for their families. So I think I'll make a motion for 70-30.
And is there any, for the following year, is it a step or just for this year?
Well, I think, yeah, so it should be a two-step. This year, maybe the 5, and next year, do the 60-40, but at least let them know ahead of time that this year is gonna be this, have some meetings with their employees and let them know that this is what we're taking. This year is gonna be the 5%, and then next year's gonna be there. And hopefully we have savings. Maybe we'll not go all the way to 60, but at least they know ahead of time that this is gonna be some.
Or maybe consider, the 70-30 this time, and then next time another 5%.
Yeah.
Perhaps go to 65, 65, 35. What's that?
He said 10.
I know what he said.
He said 10.
Oh, okay, no.
He did say 10.
He said 50.
No,
But
I think
I'm still advocating for the employees.
I think the key of this, Mr. Is just to let them know ahead of time what's coming. I
Yes.
think just to tell them right now, 50-50 without anything, it will be.
It's a major shock.
What's going
Yeah.
on, but I think we do it in steps, like
Yeah.
the mayor said, why don't we do 70-30? And then next year we do 60-40, but at least they know ahead of time what's coming, so they can, they expect that, they have the whole year to think about all that,
Correct.
or at least, adjust it and go from there. But if we tell them right, one day to the next, this is coming, I think it's hard, and, having a chaos, with all the employees, at least on the city administrator's office. But,
Yeah. And at the 70-30 split, because the premiums are going down, the employee, it's not going to be a major shock to the employees, because their biweekly deductions will still be in most cases less than what they were last year. So for them, it's still going to be in the paychecks, it's still going to look nice because they're not getting hit that hard. They're actually getting less of a deduction. So this would be
By Councilman Rodan, second by Vice Mayor Garcia, those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Me. I name for the dependent coverage, just for the record.
Motion carries. And, and for next year, like I said, we're gonna go down to 60-40, but if we can play with the more attractive plan, by all means, bring recommendations.
Okay.
And thank you, Armando, for everything, because I know it was it was an experience, so I want to thank you and the health committee for their time, and we had healthy discussions. I mean, this wasn't, it was a lot of back and forth, so.
The discussions were similar to what they were here. It was reflected in the health insurance committee. Yeah, so there were some strong arguments, but I think it was for the benefit of coming up with a good plan, yeah.
Well, but what Councilmember Castillo said, thank you very much, the explanation and the numbers, it makes sense. I know that it's a lot of numbers here and there, and sometimes, but I think at the end, we're looking for employees, and right now, we can afford the numbers that continue with that.
And there's no, just for clarification purposes, there's no concern in the number of plans that we're offering, right? The 6 plans that I presented would be okay? Yeah, okay.
Thank you, because the agent we used to have, it was visited, and that's it. He didn't give us, he didn't even care.
And I think that's
To
what
be honest, that's what.
what this committee did. They took the the broker, the salesperson from being here, and they had different plans, and that's what we wanted, that was the outcome that we wanted.
Mhm.
Last year, we were kind of put in a rock and hard place.
Yeah. And I kind of got that too. They would present you these hard plans, and so we kept pushing back, and say, well, we need some more variations, we need to see more options, and it worked out well. We ended up with some good plans at the end.
And thank you, Councilman Castillo, too. A lot of time and stress.
It wasn't stressful, it was good.
Thank you all. Okay. I'm finally done with this.
So when are they gonna be available for us to look at?
Open enrollment starts today.
We'll probably do open enrollment next week.
Okay,
Mayor, 45 minutes?
15 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, new business, item number 1, presentation for retail coach company and how to attract new retail stores to Somerton. 15 minutes. 40,
She's gonna call. She's gonna call. You're not gonna do the presentation? Yes. Okay. And I'll say someone call. You can hear me, Aaron? You can call now.
Hey, Hector, Austin here.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, we are on. This is the presentation. Mayor and Council, good evening. I have Austin Farmer with a retail coach. He's going to give us the presentation about 10-15 minutes, and then you have another 5 minutes for questions. Okay, Austin, go ahead.
Great. Hi, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Austin Farmer. I'm a project director with a company called The Retail Coach, and want to just give you a quick presentation about our capability proposal that you have in front of you in the past few days. So first and foremost, the company, The Retail Coach, what we do is we help communities identify new retail opportunities, actively recruit those retailers, so actually act as an extension of the economic development team and go out and leverage our relationships with those retailers, and this having grocery stores come to the community, and then we actually help coach your community to make sure that you're staying in front of grocery stores, restaurants. We've worked in this industry for over 20 years. We've actually worked with more than 650 communities throughout the United States. I believe in over 40 states at this point. +% of our clients end up being come in and work on a 12-month, a 1-year contract to extend to a 2nd and 3rd year where we're able to go in and keep doing recruitment on behalf of those cities. This is a map of some of the cities we've worked in throughout the United States. I personally manage all of our West Coast and Southwest projects. So I manage all of our projects in California and up along the West Coast. So I'm very familiar with the community, with the area as a whole, and really the kind of the Southwest Arizona region and Southern California and the Coachella Valley outside the San Diego area, and have traveled through the area through many times. We have a 10-person with 2 offices, our corporate headquarters in Mississippi, our Austin, Texas office. And so we have a team that's dedicated to retail recruitment split between over 50 years of retailer and developer connections and experience in the retail development world. One of the things we like to say is that we're consultants and work with. We really do what's of the communities. That to get a brokerage fee, we're trying to do in the best communities, whether that's to look at specialty stores and emphasize certain industry sectors. But our goal is to come in and make recommendations based on what's going to be best for the community long term. And there's no conflicts of interest in being a retailer or developer, just so we can make a fee off of that. And really, we have success in every community we worked in. In the first year that we work in community, in about 75% of the communities we work in, typically looks like is by the end of, we'll either have a letter of commitment from a retailer or community, ongoing conversation that first either groundbreaking or having those reach the community. We have a 7-part Retail 360 process. Opportunities for redevelopment opportunities. Our process is phases 5, 6, and 7. And so really what we do is come in, get the data to the point that we need it, story about the community, retailer. When you leave the community based on cell phone data. And so we use that to paint what we for the community. On a, if we're looking at you on a map, a lot that your community a picture in their mind. A smaller community, extension of the Yuma market. Use that cell phone data to be able to and really tell retailers where we're coming from, come in and buy goods and services. But more they're going when they leave. That retail leakage. So in categories in the community. the community, but once we drive interest in the community, really push retailers and grocery sites, and really, whether that's like Albertsons or some really take on not only to come to the market in sites as well, so that if we get to the end of that first year, if we don't have a letter of intent, at least back from those retail community level, but on the Albertsons grocers, we talk to all the top national. They're telling us they like the market, but they need a site that has X, Y, and Z, and so we really put everything that we can together from those retailers with as much a roadmap that the city can use to really focus on how to get some of those to the community. These are just a couple of examples from some community of site profiles that we're marketing process where to put together pieces and promote that he can use as he's out there talking to other prospects. If it's not even, if it's residential development. So as part of those marketing and branding materials, the deliverables that we put together for the retail market profile, like that retail, that cell phone analysis coming from, and that bigger trade area looks population packages. So we custom feasibility for each of the that would be by investing in a to throughout the entire process through the bulk of that recruitment process. And then we offer coaching and ongoing support. We meet with stakeholders in the community, and then we make ourselves, whether it be the council or community stakeholders, to make sure that we're educating and all forward in terms of what you need to be. So I'm going to turn it over there. That was a really, I'd love to answer any questions, talking about any specifics in terms of things that are in that proposal.
Yeah, thank you, Austin. Mayor and Council, any questions for Austin before he goes?
I have one.
Mr. Castillo.
Yeah, my question is, what is your success rate, in your experience, when you take into consideration our demographics and population?
Yeah, I would say across the board, our success rate is about 80%. And typically in the first year, it's around, success rate goes up. And then the longer we're in communities, it gets. I don't think we've ever worked with the community for more than 2 years and not have. But across the board in that first year, I would say about, we've been really good communities. Work with communities anywhere 2,500 population, but we spot in that 10 to 15 population community range. Some of those communities that kind of fit in that 10 to 20,000 range.
Austin, how familiar are you with Somerton? And can you give me an example of a community you work for that has the same demographics of Somerton, mostly seasonal workers and lower income, mostly cash, and we're a bedroom community, so can you give us an example of a community that you work with, and maybe we can give them a call so we can get some references?
Sure, absolutely. Follow up with some specific examples. We've done some work in Arizona before. Some similar demographics. The communities were a little bit larger. But we do a lot of work in the valley, in the Rio Grande Valley, and some of the areas in South Texas that have some similar demographics and are positioned, similarly to the border. And so I can send over some examples later from there.
Yeah, because
But,
our issue
we've
is
certainly seen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
our issue that we've been having is that we are approximately 10 miles from Yuma and San Luis. San Luis is about, almost 40,000 residents. Yuma is, 100,000. We have a Walmart, and we only have one grocery store, and we have a lot of leakage here in the community, but it's very hard to quantify when you look at the data. Most people buy cash, so that's where, we've been trying for a grocery store for years. We hire Buxton, which sounds very similar to what you were telling us. In fact, a lot of the retailers that you're showing us are what Buxton showed us, and I would say, we could probably credit the Burger King to them, but other than that, it wasn't very successful. So when I hear 75%, I'm very skeptical about those numbers. So that's that's what I want to know. What communities similar to us, so we don't go this blindly and we don't give our people false hope that we're going to have a grocery store within a year or 2 years. So.
He said 2 years.
75%.
Yeah,
The first year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you guys have been in this industry, you've seen it. We dedicated staff that's doing that recruitment on your behalf every day, every week, and giving you monthly updates. So I think that's the main difference in terms gives us that success rate. You mentioned it, you know, you have a challenge of positioning yourself against Yuma, and are just going to see that market. They're just going to say, oh, well, we can put something in Yuma, we're gonna capture Somerton because they're so used to coming here. I was looking at some cell phone data earlier, just looking at some of the leakage patterns to see, you know, no surprise locations of people leaving Somerton to go buy stuff other places is Yuma Palms was the number one location just in terms of pure number of people that are going and shopping there. Albertsons, Fry's, both of those on 24th Street. It really is leakage, and I think that's the challenge that we'll face is how do you present yourself as more than just market, and then how do we really help sell the community in the best light possible. You know, I think you have a challenge. You mentioned using cash accounted for as well when you take into account just where you're positioned and what those demographics look like. And so I think we can help there too, and just try show up on some of those typical demographic reports. And in terms of specifics, I can follow references from some communities we work with that you can call and that are similar in nature.
Thanks.
And Aaron, Austin, I have one question. You said you brought some chain stores to Texas, you know, with that fit our kind of demographics. You know, what were those chain stores?
It's going to vary by a community I'm thinking of that we were just successful in is Kingsville, Texas, which is down in South Texas, close to the border in the valley. We just got a Starbucks to Kingsville. We're working in Harlingen, Texas, throughout the valley over the last decade, but I'll have to look and get some specific examples in terms of some of those smaller communities with some similar demographics. But across the board, a lot of those smaller communities, that's with some regional grocery stores. We've had a lot of success with discount retailers, kind of discount department stores is I would lump them into, and then kind of across the board in terms of national and regional locations, in terms of clothing stores, grocery, general merchandise, different categories across the board there.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Have they worked with opportunity zones?
Now, did you work with opportunity zones before? Bringing
Say that
investors?
again?
Opportunity zones.
Opportunity zones, yep. We actually have a broke off from Deloitte Financial zones. We're actually working in a lot of communities right now. I will say that there's a challenge with opportunity zones in the city. If the city is putting together that opportunity driven and really, so that's one of the things that we've done in communities is really help them put together kind of a marketing plan, investors and people that can come in and invest in those plans, or in some cases help the city put together their own investment or own opportunity fund that they actually manage. So we've been around that a lot. We've done a lot with it, certainly in the past couple of years, but it's still kind of a work in progress, just with some of the regulations not coming out until late last year, and some of that being investor driven.
All right, thank you, Austin.
Have you, Hector, have you guys had any investment?
No, not yet. We had a big one in Somerton.
Okay.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for your time. I will call you later.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Good time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Austin Farmer?
Has left.
Yeah, another 45 minutes, maybe.
Can go home and then be back in 45.
Monty and Hector, man, dynamic duo.
No, this is a quick one, Mayor. Mhm.
Okay, item number. Item number 2. Discussion and possible action to renegotiate the commercial lease agreements with the Super Bowl sports bar.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. As you remember, the city bought the building with the 8535 Sports Bar located. And as you know, due to the coronavirus epidemic, a lot of retail companies and restaurants are having a lot of issues. And their concern on this sports bar, even though it's pretty popular, has been a big hit. Their intent, their proposal is to go back to the initial lease, they started as a lease a year and a half ago, 15 cents per square foot. And it's supposed to go up again for this coming year. So Monty here is here to explain the reason why. We all know the reasons, but I mean, he can mention a little more detail. Basically, as you know, economic development, we need to support our local businesses. And from my perspective, I think it's a good idea for this time. Their lease will expire in June 30, 2021. So after that will be month to month, or they have the options to purchase the building or to continue another couple of years, more years to the lease agreement. But right now, the intent is to lower the rate, the lease rate to 50 cents per square foot, as it was initially started. Monty, would like to explain a little more about the reasons?
Thank you guys for seeing me today. Obviously, I enjoy visiting Somerton. I'm here all the time. Obviously, with the events of COVID, it's been extremely, expensive. We don't try to make money at the bar, and we haven't made any money. It's been a losing proposition. It's not, this is the first time we're actually going to start breaking even in the first quarter, and then this, occurred. So it's a tough for both us. But I think when we started this endeavor, we didn't expect to do as much in revenue as we did. Otherwise, we probably produced twice as much sales tax revenue as what we anticipated when we started the business. So it's been more successful in that respect. It's just been more costly. And in the current situations that it's against us, food prices are almost non-controllable at this point. I mean, carne asada, if you go to you can tell right now, go to get carne asada, we were paying like $3 and change a pound. It's $10 a pound. It's really tough to control food costs. Right now, it's very tough to control. Besides people not going to the bar, the amount of occupancy, you can't staff as many people. But the communities are good. I mean, they support us. So I mean, I definitely appreciate that. But with those pieces in mind, it's going to be a very, very tough push the next 6 months to the year moving forward. And so that's why we're asking for this. And I would almost bet any restaurant in town, they're negotiating with their landlords at this point. It's been shut down. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Yeah, and so this at least we have the option of going to executive sessions or council wishes, or Sanders is here, do you have any questions for me?
Besides, all the employees that we have live in Somerton. I mean, we produce like 11 jobs that, they're in here in Somerton, so it's it's also an advantageous thing.
I would like to do it.
Okay.
So we can discuss. We can set the preference of having the new.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, so we'll wait until we go to all these executive sessions. Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you guys for your time.
Item number 3, first reading by title only, ordinance 2020-002, ordinance of mayor and city council, city of Somerset, repealing and replacing the city code chapter 10-129 fireworks by adding regulations for the use of fireworks. Hold on.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. In front of you, you have a proposed ordinance to amend our fireworks ordinance. Our fireworks ordinance went into effect back in 2010. There's been some significant amendments to the state ordinance. The state statute regarding permissible consumer fireworks went into effect in 2017 and was amended less than 2 years ago, and the League of Cities and Towns has now provided a draft ordinance for jurisdictions to incorporate those changes. Currently, in the city of Somerton, fireworks are not allowed. Pursuant to state law, they are allowed during certain time periods. So now state law regulates the use and the sale of those fireworks. So you can a retailer can start selling their fireworks between, let me put out the stat to the actual ordinance, between May 20th, or starting May 20th, so that they can be used by purchasers between June 24th through the 6th of July. And then retailers can start selling their consumer fireworks starting December 10th, so that they can be used by consumers between December 24th up to January 3rd. So those are the time frames that are now allowed by state. There's other type of fireworks that are permitted at any time, and we'll see those types in the proposed ordinance. So this is simply an update to our current fireworks ordinance in order to be in compliance with state law. State law also now allows for the seizure of fireworks, and if they're outside of these regulations, and it also allows the city to regulate the use of fireworks in certain natural preserves and wildlife areas. We don't have any of those here in the city, so that is not something that we're having out of compliance with. So in front of you is the proposed new ordinance, Mayor and Council, and the recommendation is that there be a motion made to accept this ordinance for first reading to be in compliance with fireworks across the state.
Any questions, comments? Is there a motion? Motion by Vice Mayor Garcia,
Second.
second by Councilman Castillo, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, discussion of possible.
Mayor, you're gonna do the reading of the.
I read or you read?
I can read it for you.
Ordinance 2020-002, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Somerton, Arizona, repealing and replacing the city code chapter 10-1-29 fireworks by adding regulations for the use of fireworks.
Would you know the motion?
No, this is the first reading right now.
Item number 4, discussion of possible action to approve resolution 2020-008. Resolution of Mayor and City Council of Somerton, Arizona, providing designation of applicant's agent form submission to the Arizona Department of Emergency and Military Affairs, which designates the city's fire chief as the city's agent for applying for certain public assistance, and authorizing the mayor and fire chief to execute and deliver said application on behalf of the Allen.
Very good. Mayor and council, this is, Fire Chief Paul Deanda. The Arizona Department of Military Affairs is acting as Arizona State's, agent for the FEMA. In other words, they're the liaison between us and FEMA. And, as DEMA, the Military Affairs Officer, is requiring us to designate an agent in order to seek any federal state assistance. And so I'm asking that I be named responsible for submitting any city request if we should be able to reach that point for cost recovery for any of the COVID expenses that we've been going through.
Any questions, comments? Motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2020-008.
Second. Motion by Councilman Castillo, second by Councilman Rodan, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Summary of current events.
Mr. Mayor, if you wanted to, do the addendum item at this time, to recall, regarding the letter to Governor Newsom.
We're gonna have a second session on?
Yes, any item that's listed on the,
Yeah.
as an agenda item,
Executive
the
session.
mayor and council can choose to discuss in executive session.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My report, of course, we continue to monitor the COVID-19 situation in the county and locally. As of 3 p.m. today, as I'm sure you're all aware, there are 459 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Yuma County and 115 cases in the 85350 zip code. Even though we seem to be a ways away from leveling off, city staff continues to prepare for the eventual reopening of city facilities. Plexiglass has been ordered for installation here at City Hall after completing the procurement process, and decals will be placed on the floor to ensure that we have physical distancing, spacing in English and in Spanish. In other news, I'm working on transition documents to make sure my successor has everything he or she needs to continue forward progress with all of the projects going on. My predecessor did this for me. It was very helpful. Of course, I'll be close by in my new position and certainly willing to help in any way I can. In addition, the mayor has requested that I participate as an advisor on the interview panel for the next city manager, which I'm certainly happy to do and honored to do. The position of city manager has been posted not only on our website and on Indeed.com, a job website, but also on ICMA, which is International City Managers Association, and ACMA, Arizona City Management Association websites. And as of this afternoon, there were 53 applicants for that position. And I had a reminder about the work session scheduled for this Thursday at 6. I'm not sure if you were here for that, but that has been moved to next week, so Thursday the 28th at 6 p.m. We will have the work session on HERF and enterprise funds and utilities. And I will read, actually, Chief Deanda, are you still on the phone by any chance?
Sure, I'm still here.
Did you want to do your report?
Yeah, I can go ahead and do that, you bet. Mayor and council, the first item I just wanted to let you all know is that currently all of the fire department is going through a process that was initiated by the University of Arizona in conjunction with Regional Center for Border Health. And what it is they're doing antigen testing from people to find out if we've had the COVID virus in the past and if that antigen shows up. And so we've gone to the portal and signed all our people up. And so far, I think there's 6 of us that have done the test, and the balance of them are scheduled to take the test. So we'll know soon enough if any of our firefighters have had COVID in the past and weren't aware of it. Another item that we have going on is Yuma County Department of Emergency Management, Tony Padilla, went to FEMA. He was able to get an immense amount of new PPE. So we have hundreds of new Tyvek suits. We have masks to put on the patient. And he also was able to get us a various amount of gloves and masks. So that's really good. We got a lot of PPE stored up now for the future as the team bears out a little more. And remember my last item I had here, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Can you remind me?
Yes, sir. Now continue to disinfect all of the fire station 2 to 3 times a day.
Yeah, and then in fact we're going over to the PD in some cases and doing that also. We have common showers and bathrooms for both male and female on both sides of the fire and the police side. So making sure our fire personnel go in there and they disinfect that area plenty also. That's all I have, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much.
And Mayor and Council, I'll continue on with Public Works. As part of Public Works Pavement Preservation Program, the contractor American Asphalt completed the slurry seal on some of the road segments, such as West Jefferson, West Eucalyptus, El Pedregal subdivision, and Mestade subdivision phases 3 and 4. The Avenue B water main extension project is completed 100% by Taylor Engineering, our contractor, last week. An update on Zocalo Gardens CDBG project. The contractor started the water main replacement portion of the project, and as you know, the asphalt and ABC material has been removed as part of the street reconstruction. With the Cesar Chavez Avenue traffic signal and street reconstruction project, we met with our consultant in order to discuss the possible design changes on the traffic light portion of the project, and due to the findings of the ongoing traffic impact study, the current traffic signal design needs to be modified to avoid possible traffic conflicts in the future. Community Development Department. Census 2020. The first raffle to thank our residents for submitting their questionnaire will take place this Friday, May 22nd at noon, and will be streamed live on our Facebook page. Residents will have the opportunity to participate in several more raffles in the next few months. Please visit our Facebook page for details. We have new subdivision proposals. Staff is reviewing conceptual plans for 2 new subdivisions in a combined potential total for 300 new residential lots. Review process is underway before presenting it to the Planning and Zoning Commission and ultimately Council for approval. And finally, a new request has been submitted to connect water services for a future new subdivision outside the City Hall limits on the Mesa area. Staff is reviewing pros and cons to that request. Police Department has 5 items. We have met with Regional Center of Border Health on COVID-19 testing for our officers if needed, and they have agreed. Number 2, we continue providing an officer to small celebrations by passing in front of people's homes for birthdays, graduations. Number 3, our dispatchers continue to call our seniors living alone every day to make sure they're okay. Number 4, our go live date for the updated computer-aided dispatching service will be on May 26th. We anticipate a busy afternoon and into the night of testing and making sure everything's working properly. Our dispatchers and records personnel have done a fantastic job of participating as a build team and creating templates, spending many hours testing the system from dispatching the call to writing a ghost report and merging them into records. And number 5, all traffic for COVID testing and the meat distribution events went very well. We've heard from Fire. I have Parks, and then I'll hand it over to Finance. Parks. Staff acquired quotes to move forward with installing plexiglass shields and floor markings for the protection of customers and employees when reopening facilities. Staff is looking into acquiring quotes for a potential skate park project in the south part of town for the next fiscal year. And the department is working on a recovery plan to assemble a projected schedule as we begin to look into reopening activities and facilities at a future time. So with that, I'll hand it over to you.
I'm sorry. I promise I won't throw out any numbers for you anymore. I'm obviously working on the budget. I've been working on getting additional information with regards to our state shared revenues. Unfortunately, I have not been very successful, but I will continue trying and I will send you any information that I can find. We have our new electronic application on Express Bill Pay, so customers are able to sign up on Express online The cancellation's been up for a little while now, so I'm very happy to give you that news. And as of right now, we're not doing shut-offs, so that's something that we'll probably discuss with you in the next council meeting. So, thank you.
Starbucks or grocery store?
Yes, it's coming. Just a couple of days, Mayor and council members, we have the conceptual plan for the Oriental House restaurant here in Metro PCS. It looks very nice, a small building, but it's really nice with the outdoor patio in the back. And then the entrance is gonna be by the parking lot coming in. Probably in the future, try to convince the owner to also have a patio in the front. Once we have the sidewalk improvements on Main Street, that would be a good idea to also have a outside patio. So that's coming probably in June, July, the construction drawing the permits, and opening probably August, late August or early September. Also, as you know, the Centennial Park is still missing some items there, design items. We submitted an application to ARP, Community Challenge 2020, for about $107,000 to complete some of the lighting, some of the things missing there. Also for the remodel of the future museum building. Ernie Lugo helped me with some information, so I'm working with him to be able to continue pushing the museum idea at the Centennial Park, because that's going to be a nice location for to keep the history of Somerton, and then bring people, special events. Also, I submitted an application as part of the fencing to protect the Centennial Park on Somerton Avenue and also on George Street. So as part of the application. So even if we don't get the whole thing, we get lighting or some fencing, that would be good to continue, working on the Centennial Park. Thank you.
And that reminds me, in the Centennial Park, we still got we're gonna face it in and we're gonna improve that area. We still have the public works yard there. So, there were talks in the past that they might move to the wastewater treatment plant area, but we're gonna start doing something. I think it's time to start thinking and cleaning that area up. It's where the old swimming pool was, has buildings
Yes.
and just full of parking.
Also, Mayor, just to remind me, also I communicated back to Denny Ortega from APS. We have a conversation to underground the power lines. It's still pending. As you know, they mentioned to us they will complete the whole project instead of Somerton paying the whole thing. The cost for that will be only $41,000 instead of $128,000. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for staying home, keeping something safe. And I asked Mayor Amaya earlier, I talked to him about the work session that we had Councilman Thursday. It's high school graduation we're doing for I'm going to be attending. And then I also asked him earlier if we can change Conway College for Crimson and White. It's a football college. Most of the students go to school. Just in honor of them, we can put on Facebook that we're doing that in honor of my kids. Football high school, Crimson and White. And thank you, that's about it.
I have nothing more.
I have one more thing, but that's, I have to talk to Santa Clauses. I went walking through the pathway yesterday, there was a lot of people not wearing masks, I was wearing mine. But, Nancy, it needs to be done, there's those Doritos we found, that little, so I don't know, they're overgrown into the, yesterday I started taking like 2 or 3, I thought it was only 2 or 3, but almost the first half mile is full of, it looks, right,
that there were portions, and then they stopped, and then they
I
stopped.
think they did like the other half mile ahead, it's kind of clean, and then it's not, but it is, if they want me, I can get a shovel and I can do it myself. I wouldn't mind. I think it needs to be clean, especially kids are not doing it, those are, parents are. It's kind of.
Like Mary Garcia.
I went, I attended a little while, the testing they had at Regional Center on Saturday. You know, a little bit over 200 people got tested. I think the weekend before, they had a bigger turnout that started here in Somerton and San Luis. But, you know, we all know that the numbers keep increasing. I also found out one of our seniors passed away this weekend from COVID.
Is that they're doing it every day, every weekend, or for everybody, or every accident?
No, these testing kits are free for everybody.
Is this the serology testing or the COVID? Okay,
But
that's
I know
nice.
the serology testing, Regional Center is doing it, it's just I think by appointment. We haven't done that.
I heard today on the news that they're doing it every day, but they have their testing is only different.
The serology.
Serology, the
It's
antibody.
yeah.
Councilman Gonzalez.
I had a phone conference with Wake Up, and they were talking about, I guess, all the applications that they do to triple, you know, after all this COVID-19, there's a lot of people that, you know, are applying for utilities. And I guess there's been many, especially with, I guess, I was being reduced at work and so forth, so it was a good, that was my first meeting actually, with Wake Up. And Vice Mayor Garcia, is there something that there's another elderly, right? Another part of that meeting? Or two different, one is a regular waiter and the other one is the.
I think the other one is the one where Councilman Gonzalez.
You know, was also going to that because one was going to this time, so. So all the attendants, I told them that. And also I passed by today to, traffic, the traffic light in Somerton Avenue in County 14 is now, it's working. And so since when, you know, like, 2 or 3 days. So it's nice to see and find out it's in place after we talked and now it's in place, so it's good. And that's it, Mayor.
Not a lot has been as far as meetings happening, and I feel that initially when this COVID started, we were meeting more as a county, and lately I feel that we haven't really been meeting. I think a lot of it has to do with very the political, way that this thing got out of control, but I just feel that currently seeing all those numbers, that it's very important for at least the county to stick together. Hopefully this next week they'll try to reach out to the mayors and see, keep working together. It's concerning right now, the way the stuff opening up, just it's worrisome. We tried to do the best we could. We're seeing numbers in Yuma County increasing, and then they open up the state. So what we did, we met with other businesses, provided them PPE, and at least advised them that the dangers of not just the public but them, that they're going to run into somebody that has the virus, so they need to take precautions. So I feel in that respect we're doing as a community the best we can, considering the way this thing took data and the way that the numbers are going up, I've been meeting with Ian, and we're gonna be looking at this, what they recommend, the 2-week curve, and in summertime, we still don't see that happening, so, I think the responsible thing is right now is to still keep our facilities closed, because at least we're doing our part as well for the community, and knowing, looking at the data, it's still, no matter what you look at, there's, Yuma County's not ready to open up. And if you look at the disease, yeah, we can argue as far as the business and everything, but just looking at COVID and the spread, and I feel that the Somerton community has been, at least I haven't heard any complaints about our services, city services. We're still getting their water, getting the trash, they're still able to make payments, and I feel that at least as part of, the city of Somerton, it's still not time to open up and expose our residents and our employees to the virus. At least, like I said, we're gonna be monitoring the spread, and it's time for you, well, for Somerton, because each city is doing their own thing, but that's what we're gonna be looking at, just the data.
Does the city of Somerton, so they wear masks when they tend to customers, or no? Like if a new customer, let's say public works, goes out to, because I heard of somebody, they went and
No, and that's something that I talked to Ian, we had the meat drive last week. Some employees were not wearing their PPE, especially distributing food, and that's something that I think, I've addressed it with Ian, but he's in charge of personnel, but if you ask me, my feeling would be that at least in public areas or outside the offices, employees should be wearing masks.
I think because I heard of a complaint that they went to this house to complain about this RV parked on the street, and they said to move it, so she moved it, and but then she said, this person gave him some explanation, it's on the code, but I cannot find the code, and then the lady said also complain about him not wearing a mask, and it was a protest, and I was like, to be honest with you, that, so I wanted to bring that up. I think, if you ask me, I would like to see all the clothes when they go out and where they meet a customer, they should be wearing, and customers coming in should be forced to wear masks. I don't care, it's, at the hospital, nobody goes in, there's no temperature, nobody goes in unless you have businesses. And if you're an employee, all employees should be wearing a mask everywhere at the hospital. That's everywhere. It's a policy in this, and I feel the same should be here for the city, for the protection of the employees, If people outside didn't wanna follow the rules, I mean, we're following and we're making them, if you come to a facility, city facility, you are supposed to be.
And it's my understanding that Ian sent, and I still haven't read it, just going over some recommendations for employees. That's something, but yeah, to me, I am concerned. Yeah, like, where I work, we get checked, we screened every day. If you have a fever, you get sent home wearing a mask. But,
It's kind of uncomfortable, I used to mask because that's what I do every day, mask. But I know it's uncomfortable for people to be wearing masks, but I think it's something, for your own protection.
you get used to this. This one's small, and my ears stick out. I still wear it.
I know this is not gonna protect you from COVID, but at least, you feel comfortable, more comfortable, something to, at least.
No, I'm concerned, if one employee gets, we know that if one employee gets sick, there's potential for a lot of employees get sick, so we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah,
And that's a fact.
probably we're telling the community follow, but we have to do by example. I feel that, you know, it's not still too late, we haven't met the curve, we're still living like 2, 3 weeks behind. Not even you might have to, I don't think so, still. And I think, you know, it's items to pay, and I know it's something, but it's something we have to do, it's, we have to, I'm tired of it. Waking up and this year's over, but at least let's, you know, we have to do whatever is best for the community, for our people. We need to set the example. So, yeah, I would like to see something, employees, especially, you know, protecting fans, because this is something that we think, oh, it's just adults, maybe people waiting. That bad, and if I never seen the Kawasaki and little kid, I would never like to see, I don't have 5, 6 year old kids, but I get YouTube, not, and now they're saying 50-year-old can get, so it's a, you know, you have to be, think of your family the way you're going on, let's, you know, think of the, you know, maybe if I'm by myself, I'm happy with it, but, you know, I think he's thinking about the people who work for him, the people that are under him. Because you have to think not just of us, of everything. And I feel that people don't understand the gravity of this, you know, maybe what we see at the hospital, we see those patients, or we see what goes into taking care of those patients. It's not like from one day to another one, the world has changed, especially healthcare. You have to travel out there, we do every patient, you have to, you know, do so many things in health. You know, they're not going to.
It's different, you know, it's choices that